Hi and welcome to another Friday Live, although this time not quite so live as if you remember last week I did say that I might well be recording this on the same day, and that's what I've been doing. So I recorded this last Friday after the previous Redoubles seminar so that I've got that fresh in my mind, as it were. So we're going to be doing the normal thing that we'll have a bidding quiz followed by the seminar, etc. The reason I'm not here, I'm on the reboot, what we call Reboot the Defence. And the idea of that event, it's in Denham, started on Thursday. Hopefully it's going well, finishes on Monday, although I tend to come back on Sunday. I do 6 seminars in 3 days. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 2 seminars each, all about bettering your defence. To be honest, really talking about the basics. When we talk about a reboot, we're saying remember how to defend, and that's what we're doing. So any reboot event, it is very much about relaunching yourself in that aspect of the game. This is the first time I've done defence, but defence is always difficult. So to do 6 seminars in 3 days is pretty intense. You get the set hands with them, and some brave ones will then play in the evening as well. I usually recommend taking a bit of time off there, but we will see how many people manage that. So what else is going on? We are still doubling. We are very much doubling, and what's going to happen today, ironically, is that our side is going to get penalty doubled, and we're going to be using the redouble for rescue, as we'll see an SOS redouble. But do send your hands in, please, particularly for the Mondays where I'm looking at defending against doubled contracts. Remember, this is still double annually. And then what else have I got? Well, we've got the normal events. You've got, and hopefully we'll be expanding those into the late summer, autumn, etc. We'll be looking at thinking about cruising over the next month or so, and of course our events in Croatia and Mallorca. So plenty to think about, and we're going to have one last hand evaluation to finish this seminar, and then I'm changing it, and I'll explain that a bit more. I did last week, and I'll explain it towards the end of this event. So let's start with the bidding quiz as usual, and I tried to put it on this subject, and as you can see, this is definitely on this topic. So 2 spades you chose to open. I think that's reasonable. It's north-south vulnerable, you are not. And yes, you've got a 6-4 hand, but I think it's a reasonable 2-spade opener. This gets doubled on your left by north, and then redoubled by your partner. Pass from south, and it's your bid. 2 spades, double, redouble, pass, and it's your bid. So see how you get on with that one. I'm sure there's a few answers coming in. Meanwhile, I'm going to go to the PowerPoint. So just to go through those different topics, so you've got your first round redouble, which we did on number 1. We did the 1 no trump getting doubled on number 2. Last week, we did the rebid double. So when you've opened the bidding and your right-hand opponent doubles in the middle, you can then redouble to show your strength. And today is number 4, rescue redoubles, SOS. We call them SOS redoubles. And of course, number 5 for next week and possibly beyond is the redoubles to play, as it were. So SOS redoubles, save our souls, as it were, but essentially get me out of here doubles. And I've got to warn you that these can certainly go wrong. And the reason they can go wrong is because there's a very subtle difference between an SOS redouble and a strong redouble. A strong redouble is a redouble of a takeout double. And it says, partner, if they try and take this out, we may well be able to get them down. Whereas when you are penalty doubled, you're not expecting them to run. They are penalising you. So there's only 2 reasons you'd use a redouble over a penalty double. 1 is because you expect to make it. And 2 is because you're desperate to be in somewhere else. So obviously the natural meaning is because you expect to make it. But at low levels, usually what's happened is you've got a really bad break against you and you're probably going to be going down. Quite often your partner's made an overcall, for example, not an unreasonable one, but it turns out there's a very bad break and you're sitting there with a void. In those circumstances, it's surely more helpful to have the redouble as a rescue operation as opposed to redouble saying, oh, I can definitely make this. The point being that when you're in 2 spades doubled, if it makes, I think you've got a top score already. And how often, when they penalise you in 2 spades, are you really going to know you're going to make it? Too rarely. And therefore, playing them as natural doesn't make sense. But only at the 1 and 2 level. Once you go to the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6 level, all redoubles are natural. They're saying, partner, they're doubling me, but I think we're going to make this. Okay, there can be a bit of bluff involved in that, as we'll see. Okay, but they're important doubles, and we'll look at those ones later. So, when your side has been doubled for penalties, if you are pretty sure there is a better contract elsewhere, and what that really means is, partner, I'm void in your suit, and I've got at least 2 5-card suits that we could play in. So all I'm hoping is that you've got at least 3 cards in them, and perhaps if you've got 2 cards, it might be better than playing in your suit opposite a void. Not always, but certainly if you've got 3, and there's a fair chance for that. So you're showing 2 long suits, and they do need to be really long. I mean, if you've got a 5 and a 4, just pass. Leave your partner in he bid the thing, just leave him in it. So you only want to use this redouble if you're sure you feel you can make it better. They only come up at low levels, at 1 level and 2 level. And remember, it is only a redouble of a penalty double or a takeout double that has become penalties. So that sounds tricky, doesn't it? But the idea is if someone has made a takeout double and then it's gone pass and you're the last player to bid, clearly if you pass, you're left in 2 clubs redoubled or whatever it is. Sorry, 2 clubs doubled. So if the partner of the takeout doubler passes, he is basically saying, ha ha ha, I'd like to play in this contract. You'll see what I mean, I hope, when it comes up. So let's look at some examples. 1 spade from north, your partner's made a 2-club overcall. South passes. You pass. You're happy in 2 clubs undoubled, that's perfectly reasonable. And if it gets passed out, probably goes a couple off, 2 or 3 off, you're not too worried. This is where it gets slightly bad. North makes a takeout double. North is showing shortage in clubs. This is really bad news, because if North is short and you are void, it looks like South has a lot of clubs as well. So your partner passes, but so does South. Okay, now at this point, yes, I'm putting, I expect East to have 6, but South could well have 5 or 6 as well. I would feel that most of the time this contract is going 3 or 4 off, we're getting a bottom. It's not unreasonable to hope that we might have more joy in a diamond or heart contract. And with 2 suits bid, spades and clubs, there were only 2 suits left. So I am going to redouble. I'm going to redouble to say, partner, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that playing in 2 diamonds or 2 hearts is better than playing in 2 clubs. Now, I could be completely wrong, and if my partner's sitting there with 7 or 8 clubs, all he can do is rebid 3 clubs and get doubled in that and go 1 further off. That's my bad. But even if he's got 7, they could be breaking 7 and 5 in the south hand. And what I'm hoping is, bearing in mind that North is long in spades, I've got 3 of them, I'm not unreasonably hoping that my partner might have 3 cards in one of the red suits. He might even have 4, so we might have a good fit. But if he's got 3 cards, I would feel that we're better off playing in that suit. I can't be sure, but I'm taking that gamble. Notice 2 decent suits. Make one of them silly, 5 to the 10, you're probably just better off leaving him in 2 clubs. But with Queen Jack to 5, they're both reasonable suits, which may not make any tricks in 2 clubs, those suits, because partner might not be able to get to your hand, whereas if your partner has got support for one of them, could be a nice feeling. I've got no idea. Let's have a look. Here's the hand, and it seems like a normal hand to me. Okay, so notice it was a takeout double from North, but when South chose to pass, well, let's have a look at it. 1 spade from North, 2 clubs over, a completely normal 2 club over. South, quite happy with his hand, as you can see, but double is takeout. On the first round double, if South doubled, it would be showing 4 hearts. It would be a negative double. So South passes calmly, as do we. We are happy to be playing in 2 clubs undoubled. North makes a great rebid. He could have passed, but as the last bidder, he sort of tries to add to his hand and feels like, I'm short in clubs, I want to compete. I don't mind, partner, whether we play in diamonds, hearts or spades, or even clubs if your clubs are good enough. So it's a great bid by North. East passes, he's quite happy. But when South passes, now we as West were unhappy, because we fully believe that 2 clubs is going a long way off, and we're quite right. Look at South's hand. He's got 3 club winners, and clearly they're going to make quite a few other tricks. The likelihood is they'll take the first 3 spade tricks, and by the time the dust is settled, of course you can't get to the West hand to take a heart finesse or anything like that, so you're likely to end up losing 3 club tricks, a diamond trick, 3 spade tricks, and at least a heart trick. So that sounds like quite a lot off. I'll let someone calculate that, but I think it's going to be 3 off. So we've chosen to redouble, which is partner. I'm desperate. I believe that playing in diamonds or hearts is slightly better. And of course, East trusts us. And he thinks, well, okay, 2 hearts. I mean, if you've got 5 of them, which you should have for this auction, I'll bid 2 hearts. And there you go. 2 hearts isn't the nicest contract in the world, but it is surely better than 2 clubs. If you get doubled, and you might not, if you get doubled, then I think you might go 1 or 2 off, but it'll be better than 2 clubs doubled. You may not get doubled, or your opponents might move on to something else. And if they do, I'm not sure they're going to enjoy it that much, to be honest. You know, in 2 spades, for example, it will go ace, king of clubs lead, and then maybe another club, which gets roughed with the 9, which isn't so nice. I guess they over rough with the queen. Not sure what they do. But, you know, well, they could have some fun, I suppose, if they get it right. They could play, you know, I don't know how many they'd make, but they're doing, you know, they might make 2 spades, but 110 is nothing compared to, I mean, let's look it up. 2 clubs would have been 500. Whereas I think 2 hearts is going to go 1 off, maybe 2 off. I mean, it gets a bit complicated on the 4th round of spades, for example. South can rough with the 10, which might establish an extra trick for the king 9-7. It's a little bit complicated, but obviously on that 4th round, maybe East could discard a diamond. So I think 2 hearts is definitely going to go off. It's going to go 1 or 2 off, but it's definitely better than 2 clubs doubled. And so I think the redouble was reasonable. Okay, and it's clear when it is clear that you are going to finish in a doubled contract. So 2 clubs was definitely clearly, if you had passed 2 clubs, you'd have been in 2 clubs doubled, and you didn't want to be, and that's what the redouble. So that's important. Okay, let's try another one. 1 no trump from East, double from West for penalties, and it's, sorry, double from South, and it's your bid. Now, let's assume you're playing naturally. Now, this has a huge health warning on this, but I used to do this quite a lot. I used to play completely natural as a system over 1 no trump doubled, so 2 diamonds would show diamonds, and you could bid 2 diamonds here. But a tactic you can use, which, as I say, has huge health warnings, is that you could bid 2 clubs on this hand. and you'd be bidding 2 clubs expecting to be doubled. And when you are doubled for penalties, remember that after 1 penalty double, subsequent doubles for penalties, your plan would then be to redouble that. And the redouble, of course, would be for takeout. This is very dangerous, particularly because a lot of the time, although your opponents have 8 clubs between you, your partner will have 5 of them. And if he does, he might raise your 2 clubs to 3 clubs, and you will probably be, well, hoisted by your own petard, or whatever the expression is, because 2 clubs is a clever bid in a way, because if it goes double, pass, you would redouble here, and that would be SOS. Partner, I was bidding 2 clubs as a little ruse, and I want you to choose your best suit. But as I say, this is a very risky tactic, and I'm not particularly recommending it, but I'm just showing you how you can almost use this redouble to your advantage. Here, as you can see, 1 no trump is grotesque. You may scrape 4 tricks, but more likely just 3, whereas if you find a fit, which you're likely to given your holdings, you will end up making many more tricks. Here, who knows, I mean, on a good day you might even get 3 club ruffs, in which case you're going to get close to probably 7 tricks and just go 1 off in 2 spades, which is what East would bid. As I say, do be careful here. Do not think this will work all the time. It might go West might bid 2 clubs, North might bid 2 hearts and not double you. And your partner will compete to 3 clubs, thinking it's clever. And then, yes, etc. You can imagine. But it's don't do it. I think it's probably the best way of looking at this one, but it's something that I used to do. Here's another one. East opens 1 heart, just completely natural. Your partner pass, you pass. Completely normal. You don't want to be bidding on a 1 count here. Your partner will jump to 3 no trumps or something if you do. So it goes 1 heart, pass. North doubles for takeout, just normal. And once again it goes pass. And at this point, you know what's in South's hand. South is sitting with at least King, Queen, Jack to 5, probably in hearts. And it's going to be a horrible contract. Quite often, South will have 6 hearts to pass at this level. And that could easily be the case, in which case it will be a grotesque contract for your partner, and your partner will probably escape with 4 tricks. The ace of hearts, the ace of diamonds, and the ace king of clubs. So we don't want to be in it. And of course, partner hasn't shown any great length in hearts, and there's surely every reason to think that there might be a decent contract elsewhere. The reason East hasn't bid again is because he's quite comfortable in hearts. He doesn't want to show a second suit and take us to the 2 level. He's also not expecting 1 heart double to be passed out. So he passed. When we redouble, of course, as West, we're just saying partner bid anything else. Okay, I know you've got a singleton, but the point is you're pretty sure that any other contract, even if your partner has 3 spades, for example, if your partner was 5, 3, 3, 2, you'd feel that probably playing in 1 spade is better than playing in 1 heart. Okay, here, of course, he's got a second suit, which he often will have. And now you're comfortable. Notice also with balanced hands, your partner could have a 16 count with just 4 hearts. 4 hearts, 4 diamonds, maybe 3 clubs and 2 spades. So it really is, this redouble is quite important. Again, it won't always work. Your partner might feel he's better off in hearts. And if he has 7 hearts, you know, he can either gamble on 1 heart, 3 doubled making, or bid 2 hearts for safety. Okay, but clearly, given that South has chosen to pass the takeout double, most of the time it's South who'll have the greatest length in the suit. 2 diamonds, not perfect, but it's a much better contract than 2 hearts, and I would have thought the opponents would carry on bidding, maybe go to game here. Notice that 1 heart doubled is likely to be 3 off. As long as they defend correctly and play trumps straight away, you're not going to be able to get any ruffs. They should be able to draw all of East trumps, and all you will make is 4 tricks, and that will be 500, which is worth more than a game contract. So although probably your opponent should be in game, and I suppose the most likely game is 3 no trumps, and I think probably they'll make 9 tricks, because you can see the defence are only likely to make 4. 3 no trumps is worth only 400 at Lovell, so you don't want to be going 3 off. 2 diamonds may well go off, even if it's double, but it's certainly not going to go off as many as 3. You should be able to ruff at least a couple of diamonds in the dummy, which is 2 extra tricks, so you're going to make at least 6 tricks, I would have thought, and you might make the 4th diamond as well for 7, so I think you might just end up 1 off. More likely, as I say, is the opponents will bid something. Okay, so quickly then, when are redoubles not SOS? Well, of course, most importantly, opposite preemptive bids. Okay, and of course, the point is that generally when you open a preempt, you're showing 1 suit. So really, you've just got to rely on it. Even if I'm voiding, and if you open 2 spades or 3 spades and I'm voiding it, you know, I'm just playing in it. I know you've got at least 6. So the redouble shows strength in that. Now, of course, it is a takeout double, so you should know that. 2 spades, double for takeout, redouble is showing strength. It is not, you know, it is not for SOS, and that's important. Of course, as I hope you've noticed, that's sort of what the quiz, the bidding quiz is about today. 3 level and above. Just make a simple rule. I mean, there will be possible times where your partner opens a preempt, I suppose, of 3 clubs, and you are 6-6 in 2 suits, and it goes 3 clubs, I don't know, pass, pass, double, pass, pass, and you're thinking, oh, partner, I've got 2 suits. It's so rare. It makes no sense. Your partner's got a 7-card suit, for heaven's sake. You know, he's the one who should, you know, deal with it. So for me, 3 level and above, all redoubles are natural. So an SOS bid at higher levels is unnecessary. It'll come up once in a blue moon. It's much more sensible to say 3 level and above. Redoubles are for business. They are for money or for blood. I put money here because I thought that was less in your face, but we often use the term for blood. So, you know, they have doubled me, but I think I am making this contract. And it can be quite an important bid, because if they keep doubling you, you want to, you know, redouble. And there will be times where you are prepared to gamble. So you maybe bid 3 no trumps and you think it's making. They double you, you're a bit dubious. But by redoubling and giving the impression that you are definitely going to make this contract, you might get them to run somewhere to 4 clubs or 4, you know, where they feel safe, and then you can double them. So there can be bluff involved, and we'll be looking at all of that aspect next week. Okay, so just one example of the week 2s, of course. So it's 2 spades by East on your right there. He has got a 2nd suit, but that's by the by. Double for takeout by South, a perfectly reasonable bid, just normal, but unfortunately for South, West is sitting there, of course, with a lovely hand, and West is able to redouble. He is not asking his partner to bid his best suit. It's a redouble of a takeout double, and it is saying, partner, I think we are going to have some fun on this hand, because I think wherever the opponents play, I am going to enjoy it. North would bid 3 hearts on this particular hand. East would pass with a flash. That's important. Pass, double for penalties after a strong redouble. Further doubles or penalties, and West is going to enjoy that a lot, isn't he? And this is the hand that we saw 3 or 4 weeks ago. And as you can see, I don't even have to add it up. I think there's a couple of diamonds, a spade, and at least 3 heart tricks coming your way. So that's at minimum, I think, 6 tricks. That's 2 off, and it's a little part score, don't forget. You've got 14, your partner's shown a weak bid, so there's no reason to expect making game. So it's just a little part score hand. I mean, clearly if you're playing in spades, you're likely to lose 2 spade tricks to North for a start. So you're likely to go, you might make 2 spades, but no more than that. And 2 spades is worth 110. You've got 300, which is very nice. I mean, Declara could easily go wrong on the hand and give away more. So that is that on SOS redoubles. Next week, we're talking about the higher level doubles, so 3 level and above, but most commonly the game level. And it's simply a situation where, you know, you get to game, they double you. Quite often they've got good trumps, but they might have the ace and king of a suit. and you look in your hand, they've bid their suit, for example, and you're looking at your hand, you've got a void in that suit, and you're thinking, do you know, I don't think you're going to make as many tricks as you think, so I'm going to redouble you, or redouble myself, as it were, and it's worth it. It can be worth a lot of extra points. So we will see that next week. So I hope you enjoyed that. Do send me in some questions if you wish. Hopefully someone's been answering any questions you had today as well. And if you have any examples of redoubles for SOS, they would be great as well. They can be useful. Doesn't come up a huge amount, okay, but I'm hoping that it's pretty obvious the situation that it comes up in when you're festering in a doubled contract at the 1 level or 2 level, and you are desperately going to try and get yourself out of it. Okay, let's go back to the quiz. So I'm hoping that you've got the right answer now, having just seen the last hand I showed you. 2 spades you opened, double. Your partner is saying, partner, I've got a wonderful hand here. It's our hand. I've got about 14 odd points. So believe it or not, I know you've opened weak, but this is our hand and I want to have the opportunity to penalise the opponents. Okay, and so here it's important that you simply pass. You're not being asked to bid a second suit. You're not being asked to show whether you're strong or weak. You are just being asked to pass. North will then probably choose his best suit, and East may well be in a position to double him. So let's look at the hand there. There's your partner's hand. Isn't that lovely? My goodness. He's got a 14 count with 5-4 in the red suits. So if North bid 3 clubs, East would have a little bit of a problem there. He'd probably just pass, though, and hope that you would do something. And obviously here you would double. So it would go if North bid 3 clubs, it would go pass, and you would double for penalties. And that would be comfortable. Perhaps more likely North's going to bid hearts or diamonds. And clearly you're going to have fun. Notice that their best fit is only 7 cards. So it wouldn't surprise me if hearts chose the major here. Sorry, if North chose the major. And wouldn't that be fun? Clearly 3 hearts doubled would be carnage. We all want to be fun to play. You'd need to shorten your trumps because you've got the longest trumps. But yeah, beautiful. You've got your 4 top tricks, and in hearts you'd hope to make 3 or 4 trump tricks as well. So that might be, well, they're vulnerable, so that's 1100, I think, 800 or 1100. Notice the vulnerability here as well, of course. You know, even if you can make a game contract, which I don't expect to, of course. In fact, you've got a horrible misfit here. But even if you can, I suppose here you probably will actually. Let's have a look. Yeah, you might scrape home. Yeah, you might scrape home in 4 spades. To go down, they'd probably need to draw trumps. If they did take the trumps off the top, then you probably wouldn't make your game. But if they don't draw trumps, you can make a club ruff or 2 in the East hand. But remember, 4 spades is only worth 420. Taking the opponent's 2 off is worth 500. And whether they play in diamonds, clubs, or whatever they play in, I'm afraid to say it's going to be horrible, isn't it? And if they played in hearts, you'd probably start with ace king of diamonds and a diamond ruff just to rub it in. So that would be disgusting. If they play in clubs or diamonds, obviously there may well be ruffs in both hands as well. So it's pretty horrible. And that's what the redouble is all about. Other than that SOS redouble, which remember only comes up if there's been a penalty double involved. So North's double was for takeout. The redouble is partner. I am strong. This is our hand. Let's have some fun. Okay, so lots of redoubling. It's not an easy topic. It's not an easy topic, but it should come up a lot more than it does. It should come up a lot more than it does. I think probably the most common one times it comes up is actually the last topic, part 5, where people do genuinely get doubled and then redouble to play. If you play natural, of course, one no trump double redouble can be a natural redouble as well. We probably won't mention that. I've mentioned it a number of times when we did the wriggling out of no trumps. I suggested you could play the redouble as a natural, and the main reason for doing that is you can punish the opponents every so often. Remember, when you're in one no trump, weak no trump, get doubled, you sometimes give 800 away. Well, if every so often you redouble, remember, one no trump redoubled is game. It's worth a lot. 760, for example, just for making it. Add an over trick, whoosh, you are flying. So it's worth contemplating that. But anyway, we'll be looking more likely at game contracts, etc. So let's see what we're going to finish with before we get to the weekend. Here is your last. This is going to be your last hand evaluation hand. Because we've been doing that for some time, and I thought what would be interesting, and I hope it is going to be interesting, is I'm going to give you an auction, and you're going to have to try to predict the type of hand your partner has, or what you have, I should say. So I probably won't show you either hand, and I want you just simply to guess, or hopefully work out, what your hand should look like for the bidding. So it's another way of sort of looking at things, so it'll be interesting to see. However, here we're looking at this hand evaluation hand. So there's two questions I think on this one. What would you open if you were the opening bid, and what would you do if East opened one no trump? So how would you feel about the hand? So that's, I hope, a good way to leave it. I hope you enjoyed the topic. Sorry I couldn't be there with you. As I say, I look forward to some emails or some comments, and we can discuss it. Do send in any hands on doubling for double annui, don't forget, and for this redoubling as well. And hopefully see you for the sort of last episode, which will be on natural redoubles. I might add a little bit on Q bidding. That might be taking it a step too far. But don't forget, I also want your ideas on topics that we can have and use on this Friday session. So thank you very much for your company. I hope you haven't missed me too much. I'll maybe see you over the weekend, but certainly I hope next week. Thanks very much. See you again soon.